Good evening, everybody. Thank you for putting up, for the delay and your patience. Welcome to the Highgate Selectboard meeting for April 17, 2025. If we could all do the first order of business, Pledge of Allegiance. Flag is to the back today. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the flag which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thought they changed it on.
No, they did not. No, it's been a day. Apologies for that. I'll practice that tonight. Okay. We're good. All right, so big crowd here tonight. Thanks for coming to the library. I'm glad we did move it here. And we're here mostly tonight for the big order, or big item here is the ATV ordinance and possibly opening up all roads. Just to set the agenda, because we got a lot of people here, and so some ground rules to make this go a little smoother. We'd like to limit everybody's comment to 3 minutes, and we're going to entertain everybody for about an hour, and then we're going to move on to normal town business. Everybody can be respectful, everybody's opinions in the room, whether you're for it, against it, that kind of thing. That's what we're looking for. Tonight we do have Game Warden Matt Thiel and Sergeant Valancourt from the Franklin County Sheriff's Department. And they're going to provide just an overview of how they're going to enforce ATVs here in our town. So with that being said, I'm going to open it up to comments at this point. Oh, let me start with something else. I'm just going to read I went back to the ballot here, I just pulled it up. So the ballot item was, shall the voters of the town of Highgate advise the select board to allow the legal use of ATVs, all-terrain vehicles, on all town roads. ATVs must be registered, insured, have a valid VASA, that's a Vermont All-Terrain Sportsman Vehicles Association registration sticker affixed, as well as wear approved helmets and seatbelts. The vote for the town was 270 for yes, 219 no. Calculated it out, that's roughly 20% of the town voted. So I don't know what the other 80% are thinking. So I'm assuming hopefully you guys are all here to work this out. So with that being said, the floor is open. We're here to listen.
Well, actually, we're going to hear from the law enforcement people first.
Okay.
So I don't care. You guys can.
So again, Matt Thiel, I'm the game warden that covers the area, Highgate and Swanton, as well as Grand Isle North and the islands. So when I was asked to come and speak, it was kind of just a brief overview of what roads would not be allowed to be open. Sergeant Valancourt also confirmed Route 7, Route 78, and Routes 207 would not be open because those are not town highways. Vast Trail, the snowmobile trail, is also closed to operation, so it would only be operation on town-owned and maintained roads. I'm missing something there.
Is it 207 south or north?
207 in its entirety.
Well,
207
is a town road.
That's
The
a Gore
Gore
Road.
Road.
Gore Road. Yeah, so Gore Road, Town Road, 207, so that's the south and north, because parts of 207 down here are still south and north, depending on where you are.
Yeah.
So Gore Road, Town Road, 207, State Road. Claire, does that clear that one up?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, perfect. Thank you very much. So there was the Vast Trail, Snowmobile Trail, that's maintained and operated all by the Vast funds, the TMAs that go in for that. So based off of that, the operation on the trail during the winter, it's a low impact sport, being that there's a separation of snow between the trail itself and the machine. Once you get out here using an all-terrain vehicle, UTV, it's a high impact sport on those improved trails. It's also federal funding that went through to fix a majority of that area. It's another reason it's closed to operation. Again, operation on approved roads by the town would require the TAD, the trail access decal, by the VASA clubs, your state registration, valid license, helmet, insurance to be able to operate on the roads. For those individuals that are under the age of 18, they also need to have a safety course certificate. That one's a little muddled, unfortunately, but it's still a requirement. And there's one other portion we discussed. Oh, so for the actual portion of Title 23 is the section of state law that you would follow. Title 23, sections 35 and the 3500s. 3506 is the operation, prohibited acts, financial responsibility, and headgear section of the ATV laws and regulations. And section 1A states that, and I'll read it in its entirety, the highway has been open to ATV travel by the legislative body of the municipality where the town highway is located, or for state highways, the Secretary of Transportation, and is so posted. So once approved, those roads that are open, it has to be posted by the town to ensure that those areas are open. And posted again is gonna fall on the town to determine how they wanna do that, or the clubs that are assisting with opening, whether it be posted at the town clerk's office, highly visible areas throughout the town, or as it's been discussed, the actual roads themselves be marked with signs showing that the road is open to travel by the use of ATVs. One question I've had oftentimes is UTVs or ATVs that have a roll cage, you are still required to wear a helmet in those vehicles as well. Anything else that you can think of?
Nope, you know, building off of what he said, we're kind of in the same boat. Obviously, we enforce the state statutes. Some things we're gonna have zero tolerance for, DUIs on ATVs, they are motor vehicles. Negligent operation, you know, anything that could be ticket worthy, I'm all about warnings, education for a first offense. So we're not out here to be adversaries, but we will be enforcing it, so.
I have a question. If the town doesn't do all roads and specify certain roads, would that make it harder for you? You could have a list of what roads they can be on, which ones they can't. What's your thought on that?
It could go either way. If all roads are open, it's kind of a blanket. If somebody's out and it's easy enough for us to follow. If there's a list posted and we have access to that list, it's gonna be one extra thing we have to try to memorize. And
Right.
if we're out there, we're gonna do enforcement on ATV operation just like we would motor vehicle stops. If a plate on the ATV isn't displayed, there's still the potential for a traffic stop at that point just to verify that the ATV is registered. So again, if it's a road that's not closed, they could still be stopped. If it's a road that is closed, they're gonna be stopped as well. So we wanna try to enforce the laws that are put out there the correct way. We're not looking to write a ticket just because we can. As Sergeant Vancouver mentioned, we're here to keep everybody safe. And everybody, as long as everybody's going home at the end of the night, that's our main priority. With a little extra education sometimes is how it happens though.
How about some of our farm ATVs that can't go over 20 miles an hour?
So farming is different. There's a specific section in there. They're only being used for farm operation. You're traveling from one section of the farm to another. Same thing as you would use your farm implementations. They have the orange triangle, something like that. That's a different section. That's legal there.
Matt, for other towns that have opened some or all roads, how are those posted in other towns that you've patrolled? Is
So
it VASA postings, town posting signs? Is it every road that's open that's posted, or?
every town is different.
Okay.
Yep. And that's where, luckily, we do have some of the clubs that are out there that are trying to make that effort to make it consistent across the board. But right now, every town is a little different.
Just for a comparison, I looked up the town ordinances for the other towns in Franklin County, and Richford is the only town that specifies certain roads. All the other towns are all roads.
Do you know how Richards is posted, or if it's
I
posted?
can-
Well, I guess if they're all open, I guess you would only have to post them.
If-
I can show it to you if you want to
If-
see it.
They're
No,
still
not
required
really.
to post, so
Right.
if it's all roads open, it would just be a simple notice at the town clerk's office stating all roads open, that it is so posted.
Okay.
How's that work if there were state roads that the town select board can't give permission?
No, so they have the capability of opening all town roads.
All
That's
town
what
roads.
they're
Okay.
able to do, posting all roads open to travel within the authority of them to open, or with the select board opening those roads.
All roads, but all town roads.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Question, Ray, just going back to the genesis of this whole thing, what was the reason that you wanted to open all the roads versus select roads?
Rather than have to name them all, but I worked with a few of the members of the club, and we came up with a list of the ones that we felt we needed to have open. The rest of them, you know, you got a lot of dead-end roads that don't really do anything for anybody. Highgate Springs area, as far as around the Tyler Place or up where you are in that area, there's really no way to get there.
Right,
So we didn't include those.
okay. There's just the handwritten list here going down the side.
Yeah,
I wish Richard was here right now, because he's the road commissioner, of course. I'll just say we already spoke, but his idea was, I'll wait on that. I'll say what his idea was here in a couple of minutes. Okay, so these are the roads that you would want open, everything that's handwritten there? Okay.
You wouldn't want to include that one road that goes to the lake for ice fishing?
Well, that one there is pretty much gonna be having the trailer up there anyway,
Right.
because the roads aren't open.
Nothing open
that
in the
time of
winter,
year.
they close.
The road's closed,
We
first
can't
of
ride in the
December.
winter.
We're talking ATVs, not sleds.
Why can't you?
The trails are closed then.
So you can't ride your four-wheeler out on the lake?
Oh, you're right on the lake.
You can't run your four-wheeler down the shipyard road,
In
say
the
from the
winter?
store? You're still allowed to cross state highways, correct?
Yeah, you're allowed to transit across the shortest
Okay.
distance, yeah, 90-degree angle type thing, yeah.
Now, can I ask a question to the enforcement officers? The state wouldn't allow a provision to say, for instance, Carter Hill Road is open, that's a town road, right to Route 7. The state wouldn't offer up a provision to go from the end of Carter Hill Road to the Shipyard Road
Or Martin Store to get gas.
to Martin Store, which is a fuel point, and to gain access to the lake.
That's a permit I have to apply for.
Yeah, that's between them and the state, between VASA and the state, that's something that they would have to work out.
So that is something that could possibly happen.
They go by speed limit, accident zone.
Well, and-
Yes, it is a possibility, but it's an application
Right.
process to be able to do it.
And
So there is something already in place to be able to go through that process.
Yep.
But that's nothing that the town, they cannot say, we're gonna do this until the state allows it. The town or the club has to go through that application process
Right.
to get that section open.
Right.
But there, yes, there is a process that you can apply for.
Robin Hood Drive.
Yeah. It's a process.
Now, now another question is, why is it that the trails are only open from April to December? Why?
Because
can't
that's
we-
when the snowmobile season starts.
But if the roads are open, why can't an ATV go down the road?
Well, actually, I think you guys decided, what, December 1st? To shut down the
I think that's
trails?
what it says in the
Okay,
original.
They're like Swanton Town is open all year round.
Oh,
December 1st through April 14th.
yep,
It was.
first through the 14th.
Oh, is it closed now?
Yeah.
And there are a few copies of the town's current ordinance in the back.
So what about, like, for instance, Franklin and Sheldon, those roads are open year round, aren't they? No?
I don't think so.
No?
I can tell you. That's Franklin.
All right, so tonight's for comments and questions, but we
Yeah.
can research that.
Yeah. It's a horrible sentence.
Yeah.
Swanton's is open till December 1st, April 1st to December 1st.
Swans is?
Yes.
Okay.
April 1st through December 1st, yeah.
So
7 a.m.
we're open April 15th through December 1st. That's the ordinance we agreed to last year.
Okay.
So we're 2 weeks late. It's still not season.
But if we're
Yeah.
changing, could we change it to be year-round, all roads? And that way people from Carter Hill Road could go fishing or whatever?
VASA is an entity to be embraced. They are leading the responsible ATV activity in the state. I encourage the board to open all the town roads 12 months of the year. I don't want it to be illegal for me to drive down my Rollo Road to plow out my neighbor's driveway in December off the Bassett season. And it's also easier for the law enforcement. Our machines are totally independent and, you know, illegal on the bass trails. So we understand why Bassett gets done at hunting season or wintertime or whatever, it's hard to run the trails. But we're talking about our roads here, and I want to be able to use my machine to run to the sources in the wintertime. So I encourage the town to open all the roads, all the town highways, all year long. Embrace VASA, let them have their actual trails, because they don't want to put like signage on every road, I don't think. I think they just want to have their route that brings them where they want to go. So I encourage the board to consider that.
Isn't that what we kind of did last year though with the Bassett Trail connecting? I mean, we connected the trail so that you could transit from Swanton to Franklin, correct? Right. That was the rewrite last year. So now we're gonna do all roads. So I understand what you're saying, sir. And that was the compromise last year that the board made, was connect the towns together and have trails. But so now you're saying we want all roads, but the roads aren't trails. That's the thing. I understand your dilemma. Same thing. I want to help my neighbors out too. I don't want to get ticketed for driving down my ATV and a plow on it either. So that's a good point. I haven't really thought of that. That's it. Yeah, that's why we're all here to talk tonight, to find all the nuances on this.
I don't
I
know.
almost thought the sheriff's department would let me go, seeing as I'm doing 15 with a plow on it.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
going
yeah.
something else out.
How many issues did we have last year? Did we have any?
That would be up to this gentleman here. I mean, I know up my way, I live up Route 7 up by Tyler Place. We had a few issues here and there.
Same ones all the
It's-
time, they're on Carter Hill.
It's not as bad as it was 6 years ago.
No.
And that is my fear. That's my only fear, my personal fear with opening up all roads. There was that thought process 6 years ago before that first ordinance we put in place, and it's gotten better, and it's gotten a lot better with enforcement. When St. Albans came in, I think in 2020, they cracked down right off the bat, and that knocked it down quite a bit. But you're right, we got the bad apples that are gonna do it no matter what.
They're gonna do it whether it's.
Right.
The bad apples are doing motor vehicle violations that are
Right.
just to these guys.
So if people want to make comments, we should encourage that, and then you say their name first.
Okay, I'm sorry, yes. The referee over here is telling me you gotta state your name before you make a comment. She's right, so.
Hey, we gotta
Yeah,
have
if you just-
minutes.
Sir from Rollo Road, can you please say your name?
It's Brian Douglas.
Brian.
Rollo Road. One more point I came here to make tonight is that you have the ability to draft our own ordinance, and I believe the biggest nuisances that are not motor vehicle violations that are ticketable, like going fast or irresponsible operation, is somehow, and I don't have language for you, but prohibit the kid, that is often a problem, from going up and down the road for hours. You know, I don't know if you need draft language, it's point A to point B. I have people that ride around the horn all the time, they're all very well behaved, and if I had a neighborhood kid that was back and forth, back and forth, back and forth all the time, I wouldn't like that, even though I have 4 rubber tires. So I also encourage the town to figure out some language to go beyond the motor vehicle violations and address the likely nuisance.
They used to call that cruising back in my younger days. Illegal, so yeah, I hear you. We were a lot quieter back then than they are now with the pipes on these things. Actually, it's a question for you guys. The loud pipes, the aftermarket pipes. I think that's the big annoyance for a lot of people. What is the rules on that? Are you allowed to do an aftermarket pipe? No?
It's a ticketable offense.
Okay.
Also, if I'm not mistaken, if you're gonna require VASA stickers, then you aren't gonna be able to have any of those high decibel aftermarket exhausts
Right.
with that VASA.
That's a VASA rule.
Yeah.
So who monitors it? Does VASA actually inspect them? Or they just get a sticker through the mail?
You have to sign.
Who oversees
it? You don't.
All of us people in VASA oversee it, because we see it, we're on them.
Jim Weatherby, my
Oh,
question.
yeah, good, I couldn't see.
My question is, so who's enforcing it? You can't chase them, and nobody's following them. I mean, look at Lincoln Street. I just came down the road this afternoon, there was some fat guy on a four-wheeler, no helmet on, smoking a cigarette, blowing down the road about 40 miles an hour. Now, this is not just something that happened today, this has been going on for almost ever since you opened up the roads, and there has nothing ever been done about it. You've got side-by-sides that go ripping up through there about 9 o'clock at night to 11 o'clock at night on Friday and Saturday nights, and they're cruising along at 45 to 50 miles an hour. Nothing's ever done about it. So if you're gonna have laws, you gotta have enforcement. If you're gonna have enforcement, you're gonna have to chase them, because they're not gonna stop.
Paul, that Unwin, I live off of Lincoln Street, just before Jimmy. It's not that bad, trust me. I very seldom see four-wheelers going up and down the road anymore. It's quiet again a lot, Jimmy.
How far off the road are you?
I'm right next door to you.
I know, and you're about 75 feet off the road, and I'm on 25 feet off.
It's not that bad, trust me.
Yeah, yeah, so the discussion's gotta be kind of with the select board and not really the
Yeah.
back and forth.
Well, I'm just saying,
with the
it's not
crowd,
as
so.
bad as what it's being claimed.
Okay, thank you, sir. Your name, please.
Jim Maskell. Okay, doesn't Vasa have and all the rest of towns have a speed limit, like for 35
Yeah,
miles an
yeah,
hour or
yeah.
something? So,
And even if the
That
speed
would-
limit is 40, if they tell us it's 25, it's
Yeah.
25, it'll be posted.
we're not in a hurry to get anywhere.
Right.
We're just enjoying the day.
Jimmy never was in a
Just
hurry.
cruising.
Come on, just sound like my wife.
But I know you too well.
Yeah, good, great.
Another comment is, a lot of people out there think the roads are open now because of the vote.
Yep.
So maybe it wouldn't be a bad idea for the town to put out some kind of a statement through the news or wherever.
We have,
Uh,
it's
I
on
was-
Facebook, I
I
saw
was
that.
just in Highgate at Jolly last week, put gas in my car. Kid pulls up on the other side with a four-wheeler. One had a helmet, the other one didn't. And he had a brand-new machine with a paper plate. And I said, you're supposed to be on these roads? Oh, yeah, he says the roads are all open now. I said, no, they're not. Yeah, they are, he said they voted on it. So, apparently a lot of people.
People were saying it.
There was actually a sprint in the local paper the day after the vote. I read it. It did say
that right?
that the town, we voted to open all roads. And right then and there, I was like, nope. So yeah, there are a lot of people that think that. Yeah,
That was reported in the news.
yeah.
So,
Ty Swanier, speaking on Rays, I had a UTV following me on 78 last week, I think it was. The sheriff was sitting at the town garage, saw UTV pull into Mobile, pulled in behind them. When I came back through town, it looked like the deputy was having a teaching session.
Learning, it was a teachable moment.
Yeah, a teachable moment. Yeah, that was a positive, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because the guy was breaking the law, but in a, safe manner. So, I think it was actually probably you.
Yeah, thank you.
But, I did send an email out to Carrie, I don't know if it got to the select board, but, some of the things that I saw while reading other towns' ordinance is we need to think about where to allow vehicles to park. In Bakersfield, they make it so you can't park on town land or school properties. I don't know what.
You're talking ATV, where ATVs park or people?
Where, like, if somebody from out of town
Oh.
wanted to trailer their machine here and park it. Bakersfield also makes it, I think that how they word it is east of 108, any road east of 108, excluding Boston Post Road. I think that's, would be difficult for Highgate. The only road that I thought of that you could use is east of Route 7 would be open, which would eliminate all of Monument Road, all of the shipyard area, Duck Point, all
Duck
of
Point's
Country
private
Club.
road,
But with not opening all roads, you give certain taxpayers and residents the ability to use their machine, and other residents, it's illegal for them to use their machine from their house, just because of the road they live on.
Are you going to law school?
No, no.
He makes very good points.
Yes,
For, just use Platt Street and up on Shipyard for an example. A resident there couldn't ride to Martin's store to go to the post office, but if you lived on Lampkin Street, you could ride to the post office legally. I just don't know how that,
No, very-
how
very
that
good point.
sits with everybody.
Yep.
Swanton has made it so that you can, in the ordinance, ATVs are not allowed on school properties too.
Ours already says that.
Okay. That's the only one I didn't read was, thank you.
There's like 3 or 4 spots you're not allowed, cemeteries, school, and something else you're not allowed to park in or ride on.
Yeah, I think we need to include the property that was bought on Lampkin and the property that we own on frontage also, as places not to ride. That's how I.
Gentleman in the back first.
My name's Mark Moskowitz. I
no,
don't,
behind you.
sorry.
That's okay.
I didn't see the one
You
behind
come
me.
first, yeah.
In the, we as a community work very, very hard to keep our small businesses going. Every little bit helps. In the scenario that all town highways are open all year round, there are hundreds of people out in Missisquoi Bay that use off-road vehicles, right, to ATVs to do their thing. They park on the ice, park their trailers, or they trailer to the bay. Martin's store could conceivably benefit by these people knowing that they can travel to the store for anything they need, and the gents in uniform up there don't have to worry about it. Right now, that's, like it was said earlier, it's totally illegal. So we want to support our businesses. That's why I'm happy that Gore Road's open and others. But Martin's store is important to us.
They sell bait and it's all fishing stuff there, so the ice fishing is important for them.
If I could throw my 2 cents in, Mark Moskow's my name. I would like to see all the roads open and not punish the people who own ATVs or 4-wheelers, and instead of letting the riffraff dictate what happens in our town. You know, I've been an advocate for this for a long, long time. I own just a small 4-wheeler, and I'll be honest with you, I use it mostly in the wintertime, and yeah, I'll admit it, I break the law. I go down Carter Hill, and I go down Route 7, and I go fishing. I go fishing. I mind my own business, I'm wearing my helmet, I'm registered, I'm insured, I'm all that legal stuff. I use Martin's store to fuel up and grab my bait, and I cross the road and I drive down Shipyard, which isn't open either, and then, or go down the what's the dock, is it Dock Road? The Old Dock Road, and then Shipyard Road, and go on to the lake. And I don't bother anybody, I don't create any havoc. I use my hand signals because I was taught, when I got my driver's license, how to use hand signals, you know? So I am really a strong advocate of this, of Vermont becoming a year-round place for 4-wheelers and snowmobiles. It's always been about snowmobiles, and it seems like the 4-wheelers and the side-by-sides have always fought from day one to try and find a place to ride legally. We want to do it legally. I don't want to be illegal. I got better things to do than shoot the breeze with a cop or game warden on the side of the road and try to get out of a ticket. I got better things to do, but, you know, I hope that the board considers the fact that we do open all roads and that we do eventually get that passage of Route 7 from Carter Hill down to Shipyard Road. Thank you very much.
Or if you know the farmer right across the street.
What's that?
If you know that farmer, maybe he'll let us cross here.
I don't think he'll let us cross the field, you know what I mean?
A lot of farmers let us go around.
well,
They edge them.
you ain't got a lot of, you know what I'm saying? I know what you're talking about, Boyo's, I think, right beside there.
Yeah, I don't know who owns it.
Yeah, it's Boyo, but
Ma'am?
Cheryl Frazier, I just think it's pretty sad that we register our machines in Vermont, so they get our money, our insurance. We've been registering New Hampshire for 11 years now when we trailer up there, because we have no place to ride in our own town. I'd hate to see how much money we spend when you ride 1,000 miles a trip, and we can't even do that in our own town. Something's gotta be done.
Yeah. Anybody else?
I have one question. Is there a reason Vasa closes the roads in the winter? Is it because of inclement weather? They decided that it would be, you know, less safe with snow and ice on roads? I'd want that answer before I open.
That's our business, close it, correct?
No, Bassett doesn't,
It's
town
the
closes
town, it was our decision to do those dates, not Vasa.
Okay. But it must be, I mean, all towns are, that I could see are closing them in the winter months. There's gotta be a reason why they do it.
I mean, I was just thinking like the gentleman back, you know, with the plow going down the road, there's some roads, like where I live, Route 7's got a big shoulder on it, but some roads that don't. So I can ride safely down Route 7 with a plow and not worry about getting hit by a car in a snowstorm. There's other smaller roads, common sense would tell me, yeah, that there's just not enough room.
Right.
And then you add the danger of ice and snow in the winter and low visibility, that kind of thing. But you guys have thoughts on that?
You got the same danger with a car if you're driving down the road in the winter time.
Yeah, the cars had to be in a full lane.
Yeah, but the
You're
same,
sharing a lane with an ATV.
you still got
that's
the same
difference.
danger no matter what.
We ride in Canada all winter long, and it's perfectly safe, actually it's lovely. You know, turn the heat on in the side-by-side and away we go.
Oh, you got heat?
We don't have heat. That's the only way I'm getting in it.
Plus in New Hampshire, some of the towns, as long as it's 32 degrees or above, then you can ride all winter long. So that way there you've got the base there and you're not tearing up somebody's property. We could do stuff like that too.
Isn't New Hampshire all off-road trails though?
No.
You can still go down through Gorham and.
oh, they ride right down Route 2.
Jericho
Right in the
Mountain,
middle of
Jericho
Gorham.
Mountain, you can ride all Jericho Mountain all winter.
Yeah, I know Jericho Mountain, but I didn't know you could.
In
use the roads.
Stratford, as long as it's
Stratford,
32 or above,
all winter.
you can ride.
Is that self-policing or is that ride every day through a, like a Bassett type website or?
That's their,
New Hampshire is all day mornings.
Okay.
And they're strict.
The
Yeah.
majority of VASA members want to ride on trails. Our back roads are beautiful, but it's a trail organization. If the town opens only certain roads, that kind of is in contrast to VASA's efforts to sniff out willing landowners. So if a landowner becomes available in an area that the roads aren't open, that just reaches to a halt because it would be probably a full calendar year to get the town to open up the road next to the willing landowner. So, again, we should embrace VASA every little bit, but there's a challenge if only certain, there's a contradiction to the effort if only certain roads are open.
I had a person come to me and say that if we open all roads, that becomes the trail system. So my question is, well, is Vasa still gonna be doing an outreach to landowners to get more
yeah.
trails, even
Yes.
if we open roads?
Yes.
Because that's, ultimately, yeah, I'm an ATV owner, I'd love to ride the backwoods also too, I really don't wanna go on a road either. But that, I'd be worried if we did open all roads that you guys, your efforts to reach out to landowners would maybe cease or decrease.
No.
Okay.
My goal is get off the road
Okay.
as far as we can.
All right.
Some of the roads that we looked at are near roads that could be trails. They're discontinued or class 4s, but without opening the roads to get to them, that's really not an option.
Okay.
Because some of the legal trails are dead ends, right?
A couple of them are.
Yeah.
None of us here really wanna ride the road. We like to ride the road to get to some place where it's
Yeah.
fun. I like getting a little bit of money, whatever. we're not speed demons, you know? When we do a trail in the woods, we're like 6 miles an hour, you know, going, you know. But it's hard to get anywhere. We can't get anywhere.
Legally, you can't even go to Gagne's for creamy if you wanted to. That side's not open.
Right. And back.
Paula Unwin again, wasn't the vote worded as opening all roads?
Yes.
It didn't
Yes.
say select roads, it said open all town roads.
Yeah, it did.
Okay.
Advisory vote only.
And it got voted yes.
Advisory vote only, though.
Yes.
Yes.
So, if I can ask, are we gonna have to vote on this again, or can you make that decision?
It was for them to make
The
the
select board can make that decision?
Yeah, we get to make the decision, yeah.
Based
If I
upon our
could-
input?
Based upon the vote and your input, what we're doing right now, yeah. Man, so many hands going, go ahead.
Can I poll the board just to see how you feel about it?
Well, let's pull the board. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut right now. I know which way I'm leaning. Comments, questions?
As I stated at the last meeting, I was not in favor of all roads, but after listening to the comments and the logic, I am now in favor of it.
Good job, you changed the vote.
I'm kind of leaning that way as well. I still have some concerns about the Tyler Place in the summertime. Summertime.
If I could comment on that?
Yes.
Please? Because I've talked to a few people about that. I see no reason why we can't limit ATV traffic in the summertime to Shipyard and to Old Dock Road, because we understand, I mean, we're citizens of this community, we understand Tyler Place gets really busy in the summertime. There's a lot of foot traffic, there's a lot of kids running around, you don't want four-wheelers down there. We don't wanna be down there in the summertime. But this is where I'm having the conversation about come wintertime, when Tyler's guests are gone, and you don't have that traffic that you have down there, that we open the road to be able to get to the lake.
That's where I was going.
Yeah.
I agree
So
with
if we
you.
can just wait, we're gonna let the select board
Okay,
finish
finish.
and then answer Ray's question, and then we'll take it.
And I'd still like to know the law enforcement opinion of what you would like to see. What would make it easier for you guys?
So I generally stay away from giving my opinion on the matters. I enforce the law as it is written. So it is, unfortunately, it's on you folks to come up with that determination, whether you want to open all roads or individual roads at a certain time of year. As it was stated earlier, if everything's open, there's no questions of it. If some are closed, we have to go back and continue to look at that, so.
And we're here to support the town people and the board, whichever way you guys go.
Yeah, what we don't wanna do is we don't wanna make your job harder. So if opening all the roads makes it easier for you, then I'm moving that direction, but I still have the summertime Tyler Place concern, and I'm willing to work with everybody on that.
With any activity, you're gonna have individuals that are gonna do it the wrong way, no matter what stipulations are put out there. We are still continually having issues on that airport property and the pits out behind there as well, which is private property.
It's town property. It's town property.
It's town property now, okay.
Yes, it's
Most of
more
it,
through there.
most of the pits.
Some of it, okay. But there's still a secondary pit out there though, that's private property, correct? So they're not differentiating the two, and that's a big issue. So again, it's gonna be, hopefully the town will add some more info onto areas that are, this is open to ride, this is not. I know the airport has reached out to me continually over the last few years as well, of still having issues with people parking there, dropping tailgates, dropping trailers to ride out behind the airport.
We hear them from our house.
Chad?
My opinion's simple. I have nothing against them. They bring in a lot of revenue. My main concern is making these gentlemen's jobs easy. And if you open up 1 mile over here, 1/4 mile over here, it makes it hard for these gentlemen, because there's always new people coming into town enforcing the laws. So I rather see them all open to make their jobs easier. That's all I gotta say.
Can I give you a little input on Tyler Place? Tyler Place is basically off limits because I have to go get those permits to go from Carter Hill to, Tyler Place. And that's a pretty good section. I mean, a lot of times we have to fight for a quarter mile. Sometimes an inch over, it's a no. So that may never get open. So
I do have one
Tyler
more
Place might
question.
just be a,
Suzette LaRoche, could it be something that you could do just for the winter time specifically, to get to, like a seasonal thing?
has nothing to do with us in the winter. Cause then it's fast.
Oh,
Yeah.
could be a way around it.
I have one more question, Bert.
Yeah, go for it.
When you guys write a ticket for ATVs, the town gets a partial of that, correct?
Yes. Yep.
So it would benefit either way. Either way. So if they write 100 tickets, the town's benefiting off that.
Shelley?
I just have a clarification question for Brian. Brian, are you saying if you went through the permitting process to open Carter Hill, the shipyard, or Old Dock, that would still only be valid for April to December?
Yeah.
No, I thought you said that was up to the town, that wasn't up to you.
No, if we get a permit to open it for VASA, those are our dates. I can't get it year round. It'll be open every year, but I can't get a year round pass.
But you're defeating the purpose, because we don't even use it in the summertime.
Welcome
We
to
don't use that
Vermont.
road in the summertime, we use it in the winter.
Well, I've gone down there many times, and I try to keep as much of my machine off the road, and no one's ever bothered. I'm doing 10 miles an hour. I got a slow-moving vehicle sign. I have a farm number, too.
I've talked with a few state police. They said if your front tires are on the ground and you're rolling and you got your helmet on, and you're not 14 years old with a beer in your hand, you're probably not gonna bother it.
Well, we'd still like to keep it legal.
Right.
That's the
Yeah,
point.
definitely.
The purpose is to be legal, so that we set the example, not the riffraff that goes driving down through there and breaking the law every time. I want to set an example, and a good example, not a
Right, no, I
bad
understand
example. I don't want to go on the Tyler Place in the summertime. I've lived there for 60 years. I know what the Tyler Place is like. I want to be able to access the lake from my house, which is a little over a mile. That's all I'm asking for. And I register. If you register your vehicle, why can't you occupy the lane? I don't understand that. You're opening the roads, which means you should be able to occupy your lane, just like a car or a truck or anything else. You're registered,
yeah.
you're insured, and you obey the laws of the, whether it be VASA or state or town or whatever, you obey the laws.
Right.
You know,
But the state and the town have different rules.
Yeah, it's completely,
That's the state was doing it, you know. Which, the state is like Newport, you can drive right down 105 through the city of Newport, you know, that's a state road. In Swanton, we can drive 78 from the frontage road to McDonald's at the light, right?
Robin Hood, isn't that what?
The Robin Hood Drive?
Is that what they did with the special
Well, that-
exemption?
that
Okay, you
trail-
guys are the ones that know.
Yeah, I'll step in there. So, you'll see the signs say state highway begins, state highway ends in villages and cities. So even though it is Vermont Route 105 in Newport, in the city of Newport, the state highway doesn't, the state doesn't control it, the city does. They pave it, plow it, all that stuff.
but you have granted special permission to, like, say, what I particularly am looking for, but you said you have to apply for a permit, and it's a process?
Yeah, it's a process. It's not a big process, but as soon as it hits Vermont Transit, it just takes them forever.
Speed of government.
Yeah.
But we are legal, last year is, when we get to the end of the frontage road, it's that Swanton. And I thought we were allowed to go 78 to McDonald's Red Light and take Robin Hood Drive legally.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah, but that is a state road right there.
Right, but
Okay,
what
so you
we're
got
working on
permission
right
from
now, we're working on Robin Hood Drive, out behind Precision Tools, under the interstate, back up around and coming out on, You know where the Purple House used to be?
Yep.
No,
Wolf
there,
area.
the town has a road there.
Town Wall Farm.
Yeah, coming out there, then back in the Champlain, farm store, to try and eliminate that section.
We gotta wrap this up, and I wanna get in a couple of comments again. Gentleman again in the back.
Guys in green up there, post, ATV highways, or roads that are open to ATV travel need to be posted by the town according to their ordinance. What does posting mean? Does that book over there say that it needs to be a physical sign on each end of each road that's open? Or is it posting in the town office with an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, just like you post a warning for this meeting?
Says shall be posted, is open up to the town.
Sheldon doesn't have any signs that I know of.
They won't let me put them up.
We've already seen through word of mouth, through a bad newspaper article, how fast.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the day after the vote, roads are open. If this goes, when we vote, everybody, you guys will walk out of here, and the town will know the next day. And we won't need to post anything. Yeah.
So,
I am ready, if the rest of the board is, to vote with some nuances here that we would have to work on wording. So I was the last one, we went down the table. I didn't give my opinion, I'll give it right now. I was adamantly against this at first. I was one of the guys in 2018 to help write that ordinance because I was living on Monument Road at the time. And it was a racetrack down there with the people cruising, whatever you want to call it, the loud pipes. It was just chaos. And it was miserable to live there. With the better enforcement that came in 2020 after that ordinance, that got knocked down really good. And I think the town, I don't see people chasing me up Route or Frontage Road anymore. I see the occasional bad apple, and it's the same, like you guys said, it's the same people. It's not you. I've never seen any of you. So, with that being said, I am also in favor of opening all roads at this point. Richard's not here tonight. With what I'm hearing down the table, if we take the vote, Richard's vote wouldn't matter one way or the other.
But you're gonna have a new version of the ordinance
Correct.
at a select board meeting, and once approved, it
60
takes
days.
60
Yeah.
days after that to become effective.
Correct.
So you don't have to make a motion tonight, I guess,
Okay.
but the consensus.
So, adding to a new ordinance when we open all roads would be some kind of cruising clause. You know, get from point A to point B to travel, that's it, none of the back and forth stuff. Speed limit's already in there.
Okay.
And it's the state and the town has a speed limit, and we just mirrored what they did. We gotta figure out the parking for the ATV trailers and trucks for people that wanna go from one side of town to the other, or like we were having back in 2018, 2019, we had all the Chittenden County folks coming up here tearing up the town. And that's something we're gonna have to, just like Sue, something we're gonna have to be vigilant of there. The Tyler Place, a simple solution to that is we just no ATVs in Tyler Place during the days that they're open. And maybe 1 week on the back end and 1 week on the front end of that while they're prepping to open. We just say no ATVs down there at all. I think that would be fair.
The Old Dock Road, I have no complaints about that.
Yep.
Because I've been there all my life, and I actually worked for Tyler's.
Yep.
And that's not a place to go in the summer.
No, it ain't. There's too many kids there.
The Shipyard Road, I got 5 or 6 people, friends on there, and Tyler's have no guests on that road.
Okay.
They have staff.
Yeah, I actually live off Shipyard Road, so
Okay.
coming out open would be nice.
Okay. All right, let me put that in there.
But the Old Dock Road, I have no complaints about closing that.
So this is where, like I said, we gotta wrap this up tonight, but, so comments like this, we can keep having this. Send Carrie an email if you got ideas that weren't brought up here tonight, just so I can.
Or Wendy, either
Or
one of
Wendy,
us will
yep.
get it.
And then, you said you're working on the Carter Hill to Tyler Place. What is that called? On Route 7 right there? To open that, make it be legal so you can ride on the state road? What's that called?
Permit?
Yeah, for some kind of permit, okay. Is there any other part in town that would need to be done to get from point A to point B, or a gas station or something like that?
I think that they would probably, if you're gonna allow St. Armand Road up to the stores, and then back down 207. It's all right there by the fire department.
Yep.
Another one too would be in East Highgate from Mason Road to Hannah Road.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Then you got a couple on Highgate Falls
What about the
too.
end of Lampkin Street at the 78 end? Where do you go from there?
You kinda gotta come back to this one.
That's quite a long
Yeah,
road.
you'd have to come back this way, they won't go that far.
No,
Well,
that'd be
Highgate
too long
Falls,
of a trail.
across 207 to the Brewster
So-
Road or to the.
Are you actively working on permits for those areas, or is that something that's
I,
planned in the
I
future?
will now that I know what we're doing.
Okay, cool, awesome.
Brian, do you have any information if the town was to apply for that permit? Would it be year-round? I understand Vasa cannot be year-round, but if the town applied for it?
I don't know, try it, you'd probably get it quicker than I would.
So I didn't know if you knew the answer.
Yeah, probably wouldn't hurt.
Okay.
And some people have to go 207 to the Brewster Road or to the Cook Road.
So if you want to get together with Vasa, all your ideas for what you're
Yeah.
talking about right now, and put them in one consolidated list, that'll make it easier for us to help write this ordinance and get it out to you quicker. So I would say you guys, nice job. Did you change some votes tonight?
I have
Thank you.
a quick question. I haven't heard anything about a curfew. Is there gonna be a curfew?
It's
They're already-
7 AM to 9 PM right now, I think it's
That's what it
statewide.
is?
Right.
Yeah, yeah, it's already written in state law, so, yeah.
You mentioned earlier about seatbelts.
Not me, but,
Somebody did.
okay.
It was part of the article. Seatbelts was
Yeah.
part of that article that we voted on.
Oh, yeah, you did say it.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, it has to have seatbelts?
Yeah, if you have like a side
Oh,
by
you're right,
side.
it did say.
If you have a side by side,
Yeah.
and you were to get stopped, and you didn't have your seatbelt on, are you gonna get a ticket?
Have to ask
I hope
these
so.
guys.
Yeah.
It's safety equipment, right? I don't know.
And be installed, yeah.
So if it's installed on the machine, you have to wear them, correct?
We're gonna look it up. Get you an answer on that.
Get the Bible.
Vermont has a seatbelt law.
Right? I
Why
mean,
wouldn't you want it on?
you don't have them on your,
Why would you want it on?
you don't have them on a regular,
I mean, he
ATV.
wanted it on.
Yeah, I know.
Well, where applicable.
Exactly.
But if you have the harness, they're comfortable. If you have like the seatbelt,
Oh, gotcha.
get away from it.
That's like, I got one other question. Richard Frazier, helmets. Yeah, does it have to be DOT approved?
Yes, they're
It does.
saying, law enforcement saying yes.
No bicycle helmets.
No bicycle helmets?
No bicycle helmets.
You can buy a DOT approved bicycle helmet, but they're like I checked that, they're like $400.
So at that point, you might just well buy it.
Actually, go to New Hampshire, buy a little DOT sticker. They shouldn't sell them, but oh, never mind.
Should we go with what the state does, whatever Vasa does? I can't hear you, Michelle.
The helmets, shouldn't we go with whatever VASA requires, the state requires? And the state says bike helmets are okay, and side-by-sides. Because if you go the other way, that's just gonna make it harder for the sheriff and everything. Because, oops, we're in Highgate, where's my DOT helmet? Oops, I'm in Sheldon, bye-bye.
I joined VASA, and it says helmets required. It never specified whether it's DOT or not. So, our friend up here told me, asked me to do DOT. No, this guy. So, and I have one, so it's no big deal. But I think when I joined VASA, it says helmets required. It never specified DOT approved.
So helmets, unless the operator and all passengers wear properly secured protective headgear of a type approved by the commissioner and is intended by the manufacturer. If the ATV is operated at locations where the ATV must be registered in order to be lawfully operated under section 3502 of this title. 3502 is the registration requirements, the TAD requirements.
So
Helmet.
It didn't say DOT.
Helmet. Doesn't have to be DOT.
Protective headgear.
Does not have to be.
Doesn't it? Okay.
So bubble wrap will work?
2021. Well, so the state doesn't put out the updated versions of the entire title. Sergeant has the 2021 version. Mine is 2020, the 2021 does state DOT.
My helmets are all DOT. I'm just curious if somebody else ran.
Thank you. I used to do this every 2 years.
All right, so tell you what, we do have to wrap this up for tonight. We're already about 5 minutes past the ATV portion of this, which gave everybody an hour, great discussion. Like I said, you changed some minds up here, including me, so awesome. And thank you. You put a lot of effort in this, and so did you. You got the vote, and you've been lobbying us quite a bit, and it's all good info. So my big thing is I just want everybody to be safe. I don't want anybody to get hurt. I don't want any of you to make the news, kind of thing. Try and help out with the bad apples without getting yourself hurt. I don't know.
If you see something, say something.
Yeah.
So, I apologize, so the new version of it does specifically state DOT approved, with all the safety standard, National Operating Committee and everything, so it is a DOT approved required helmet now.
About seatbelts.
Yeah, I
Does it
just
say
gonna say
anything seatbelts in there?
Nothing about seatbelts on
Okay.
ATVs. I mean, we recommend it, obviously,
Yeah.
for safety reasons, but.
Most UTVs have seatbelts.
So it's gonna be one of those things that it could potentially fall into lights and equipment if it is a portion of safety equipment that's on that piece of machinery, just like your car.
Yeah.
There is a specific law for lights and equipment for your seatbelt in your motor vehicle. Again, if it's installed on that and factory option to come with it, it could fall under lights and equipment there as well.
Would you guys enforce that?
I do.
I would have to verify with the new regulations to verify if it's actually in there. But I'm not gonna answer yes or no at this point, because I don't have the correct answer and I don't wanna give you the wrong one.
Right.
And that's something I can look up and get back to the select board as well with the exact verbiage.
So I encourage you, if you, any other questions and comments and stuff, get them to us within the next 2 weeks. Because the plan would be for us to get with Ray and Brian and take input from our guys in green up here, how we're gonna rewrite this and add to it. I mean, we already got a good one, we're just gonna change some wording here or there. But we're gonna have to put in the exemptions, like I said, about like the cruising, the Tyler Place dates, the Carter Hill stuff, the permits, that kind of thing. So if we can get that done, the sooner we get this done, the sooner we can get this ordinance in print. And then we gotta add 60 days for the state, and then it's legal. So I highly encourage everybody to get on your computer in the next 2 weeks and send us send Carrie or Wendy an email.
Let me know when you want to work on it, and
Okay,
I'll give you what I have for input.
okay, awesome.
So the red and green, if I go up around the horn next week, you gotta give me a ticket.
We cannot give you permission to break the law.
But they will be sitting up there
Good
now.
answer.
Thank you guys.
Thank you. Nice job. Really nice job.
Thank you guys.
Thank you guys.
You're welcome. Thank you.
What's up?
Thanks for coming along. Thank you.
Still close enough for a ride. Right now, it's
They just listed an example.
Just be careful out there.
Sorry, John. How do we do?
Thank you very much. Appreciate all your help.
You know, you can go to Walmart for that light helmet.
That's what somebody else told me.
Yeah, and they have much more insurance about RVOT and everything.
Send it back to the email.
You can ride it. You only do it straight to 200 mile range.
Yeah.
For Wendy.
I used to have snowmobile all the time.
No problem, thank you.
Thank you very much.
No, I agree. A lot warmer too.
Yeah, it is. All right, have a good night.
All right, you too.
That was not good.
I'm really surprised at us.
Why? We're reasonable people.
No, I'm just, we were all thinking one way, and we all.
Well, there was some very valid points out there.
Very valid.
I think it went well.
I
Yeah.
do too. I'm very pleased with it.
I still wonder how Richard thinks, but we'll find out at next meeting.
There's no representation from the opposing.
One.
Only one. There's always that one.
You gotta go with the will of the people, they voted for something.
And they had every right to be here and they weren't.
Absolutely. Okay, moving on. Let me get back.
Actually, too, if I think the town did it, it'd be a lot.
Right, public comment.
All right, yeah, we are up for public comment. Sue, I totally forgot to get back to you, but sorry, we had to wrap
Well, no, I
up.
was just mentioning the park and ride, and, you know, that's all I mentioned was a park and ride. And also, I don't know if it's available, but the Mighty Fine, Big Nosh owned it, that's a big parking lot, I'm just,
Oh, you're talking for trailering,
Right,
parking there?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That's private property though, right?
right,
Yeah.
but they can ask, won't hurt.
Okay.
Okay, these were 2 questions that was brought to me, and I just, one of the questions I was asked by somebody, the house on Mill Hill Road, they want to know who drilled it. Did George LaRush own it, or the library owned the drill well?
George LaRush's father built it, Omer.
He was the one that owned it, okay.
You talking 28 Mill Hill?
Yes,
The derelict property?
yes.
Okay.
So what did you say, Richard?
Omer LaRush built it,
Okay,
George's father.
George's
The
father.
line that went to the library and it tapped off water, that was before my time.
Yeah, okay,
And originally, there was a well, originally. When that other line went in, back in Hyson Bowie or something, I don't know.
probably Hyson Boyle's time. Yeah.
Well, George LaRush too, well, Henry LaRush was on the board, so is there a connection? Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, that's all I have, it's just somebody asked me and I didn't know. Okay,
That's all, Sue?
yeah, I'm being good,
Okay. Easy on me tonight.
until now.
All right. We're kind of skipping some things here out of order, but we'll make this work. We were supposed to, right after, before, actually, I'm sorry, no, we are in order, my bad.
We're good.
No, we're good. Grant resolution from the Northern Border Regional Commission. This was a grant for $1 million to support the Village Core Water and Wastewater Project. It's due tomorrow. It requires a new select board resolution of support. And I think Carrie typed up a nice letter here. Yep. And I'll read it right here. So it's dated today. It says NBRC grant administrators, whereas the town of Highgate is applying NBRC funding the amount of $1 million for the town of Highgate Village Water and Wastewater Project. Now therefore, Carrie Johnson is being named as authorized official. Ms. Johnson is hereby authorized on behalf of the town of Highgate to apply for, accept, and expend grant funds from the Northern Border Region Commission. The name authorized official is permitted to sign all NBRC investment documents that bind the applicant, passed and approved the 17th day of April 2025. So we're doing this because she represents the select board and we can't be here all the time.
And I have to, like, actually hit submit
Yep.
on the grant, and it's probably mostly legal.
Yep. So we're giving her permission on behalf of the select board to do this for us.
I make the motion to do so.
I second, but I wonder about any provisioning for the full-time TA when that comes about. Do we have to redo this?
You just have to redo the authorizing official part. This is a resolution saying you support me to apply for the grant, but yes, I mean, it's yes and no, right? You are gonna have to redo it.
Okay.
Yep.
I second.
I asked if we could do it a different way, but.
All those say aye?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Actually, that's not the sign right there.
That's a good question. How is it going on the hiring of the new TA? Not that we don't want Carrie, but.
We'll get to that.
Okay.
Let me get to this portion
We're
here.
still working on Carrie.
Yeah, we're still working on Carrie, exactly. She keeps saying no. Anyways, the next one is kind of the same thing for Cathedral Square, a letter of support they asked from the town once again because they've got their investors asking if we're still interested in the project, and yes, we are, so we're gonna give them another letter. It's requested at the April 3rd meeting, and what is the VHFA?
Vermont Housing Finance
Finance.
Agency.
Okay. And this is due on Monday, so they're looking for it by then.
Well, they need it, you're correct, I'm bringing it to a virtual meeting I'm attending on the town's behalf,
Okay.
Monday.
Somewhere
I
here we have
conferred
that.
a bit with Senator Randy Brock. Some of this should be directed his way. There's some legislation he's working on, and there's possibilities of the state understanding it better if it goes through him. some of it, some of the conversation. And we've talked about it, so he knows it's coming, but again, I'm just a town member as opposed to you guys on the board.
Okay. Have we talked to Senator Brock at all? Rolled him in any of this?
Yes, I think what Richard's talking about is the complication of getting public water source, and I did send all the information to Senator Brock about our challenges as it relates to water.
Okay. Is that, I thought it was in my package, I'm not seeing it. Is that letter for Cathedral Square in here, or is that?
Oh, there's a new one in there.
Okay.
I revised it slightly. Basically, it kind of provides an overview on where we are with the project, and it's addressed to VHFA.
All right, got it right here. So it's a little lengthy, but basically it's a nice, short, well-written letter to VHFA regarding Cathedral Square and our support for them to continue in the future. Everybody read that?
Yes.
Okay. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to have Vern sign the letter.
Second?
All those say aye.
Aye.
This is all on the website if people want to read it, right?
I don't know if that letter's on the website yet. No, we don't put things on that are being considered by the select board. After it's all done, if somebody wants a copy, they can ask me for it.
Okay.
Very few people really want to read all those details, but if you want them, you can get them.
Okay.
It's pretty dry.
It is, but necessary.
If you have trouble sleeping, call me. Did you make a motion? I didn't follow
Yes.
that.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. I screwed up the order of this. It was a busy day.
That's what. Yeah, that's all right. I'm catching.
It's not in the
up
right
too.
order. I don't like
Yep.
to, I usually
That's
have
all
an
right.
order of things, so it's not following that. Next is the important thing, minutes, I think.
Minutes. All right, we got to approve minutes from April 3rd and April 15th. Has everybody had a chance to read those?
Make a motion to accept the minutes of April 3rd and 15th.
A second.
All those say aye.
Aye.
And next we got check warrant, which I saw in here. Has everybody had a chance to review that from the 15th? Can I get a motion?
Make a motion to accept the check warrant.
I'll second.
All those say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right, we're on to Shelley.
Carrie, I did not see the release of lien on the agenda. Should that have, should we just do that now?
We can add that, and we're gonna do it under treasurer.
Are we under me? I think we're.
Yes, we are.
We're here.
You're here already.
Okay.
So,
So in the signature folder, there should be the release of lien, which is a very long-winded way of stating that the town of Highgate is releasing all of the zoning. They are violations stemming from municipal solid waste ordinance and violations of state rental codes on 28 Mill Hill, and referencing all of the documentation in the land records.
And we're doing this in order to get rid of the liens so that we could purchase the property and demolish it. That was the deal we made with the bank, which I think we're finally talking to, I guess.
Oh, they're finally talking to us?
yes, the bank sent the paperwork this week, midweek, and this is the way the attorney said to
Start the process back?
basically own the property,
Yeah.
but it's a process, you have to do this first.
So the lien has stopped, is that what you're saying?
The total liens were $127,700, and they had stopped some time ago.
Okay.
When
Now
we
we
started
are
negotiating with
releasing-
the bank, I think last October, to
Correct.
purchase the property, we stopped the liens to negotiate.
Does this lock us into a contracted purchase?
Well, this is releasing the liens because you can't buy a property or
That has
purchase a
liens.
property that has existing liens on it.
But if we release the liens, could they,
We already have a quick claim deed in our hands, deeding the property over to the town of Highgate.
okay, I just wanna make sure we're covered.
Yep.
Yeah, and in exchange for payment, which in essence is a contract that we just
And the
satisfied.
$35,000 payment to the bank for purchase is in this check warrant.
Right.
All right, can I get a motion to sign this release of lien for 28 Mill Hill, please?
I'll make that motion.
All those say aye.
Aye.
I'm sorry, second.
Second.
Second first.
I'll second.
You'll say, okay, all those say aye.
Aye.
I've been waiting a long time to sign this one. I will check that one off. Awesome.
Other than that, just a real quick delinquent update for the audience members and television watchers. $109,184.76 is where we are at as of today. And payments are still coming in.
Good deal.
That is it for me.
Awesome, thank you. Next we're up with Wendy. Looks like we got dog licenses tonight.
Yep, just a couple updates, because we're all fried this week. Yep, we're still working on dogs. We just broke number 700, so we are getting there. Notices went out for late ones, and people have been coming in. A few screaming and hollering, a few not so much. I am gonna get with Shelby after May 1st about issuing the first round of fines, so I'm asking people to at least contact me if you're making a vet appointment, if you're making arrangements, we will leave you alone. If we're not hearing from you, you're going to get ticketed. Green up bags are available. Hopefully the weather is going, the next week looks pretty nice. And people are on break if you're around and you wanna start greening up. We have bags at the office, there's some at the library and some at rec. You can leave them roadside for Nicholas or bring them to the town office. April 28th, we are closing at noon for another training. Shelley and I had to close early a little bit the other day for a training on some executive orders and possible changes to the way we vote and different things that are nothing urgent or that's going to happen tomorrow or maybe ever, but we have training on that this week, and they're making some changes to our online voting system at the state level, so we have a training on that April 28th. We will be closing at lunch, but we are still working. We posted a part-time buildings and grounds job today at the arena. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Okay. What did we post? And somebody asked earlier about the town administrator job. I don't know if now's a good time to give an update on that.
If you're all set, we're going right to her and she can.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Well, I don't know, I mean, I know from hearing, from a few applicants that are interested in applying. Right now, we are in an active spot of the ads went out. There was a big net cast, I think, all over New England and to a lot of municipal administrators, and that the job is open through the end of this month. So we expect some applications. They're not coming to me directly, they're coming through VLCT's consultant, Dominic, right now. With interviews expected May, I believe, could
Mid-May.
be 2 rounds of them, so possibly someone could be here in June or July is the latest, we're hoping. So you'll have somebody here full-time. It's fine, you need somebody here full-time, I'm
do.
only here 3 days a week. It's hard, you got a lot going on here.
But you put in 5 days of work in 3 days a week.
Oh, it's exhausting, we're all so fried right now, that's why this is out of order, it was a little nuts this week.
So that's it for my section.
Okay, awesome, thank you.
So on to town administrator.
Yep.
So on the agenda, many people have commented that they saw the RFP that was requested for the Mesha property. It's town owned, obviously, so we're trying to be careful of what we call it. Well, a lot of people know it as the Mesha or former Steinauer Hotel and Mill Hill properties. As we just discussed, we now have the legal paperwork and the dust should settle in the next week or two. So we're going to put out a request for proposal to demo those 2 buildings. I did talk to Nick and they're capable of filling in the cellar hole, seeding it, mulching it. The intent is to have someone clean it up and remove the debris and leave the rest for us to just finish to save some money. But we're gonna wait, we're gonna have the proposals due in the next week or 2. Actually, I think it's 2, not 1. So what I'm looking for from the select board tonight is, are there any suggestions? That's just a rough draft.
I'll have a hand up when you're ready.
Yep. So I didn't issue it, obviously, but that's what I'm looking for on that.
Okay.
I I'd like to know how it came about that the Maishi property house is gonna be torn down. Who decided all this? Because my understanding, when I was there for town meeting, when that property was purchased, anything that happens on that piece of land has to be okayed by the voters. So when was this warned for voting to have this torn down?
That's not what I've read in the minutes, and it's not a voter, right per se to direct each action of the select board. So the voters get to vote on the select board. The select board decided after a recent evaluation that it was unsafe to even walk in. The fire department cannot even train in that building, so it's actually a public safety issue right now. The foundation is damaged.
Okay, I just wondered how this
Yeah.
came about.
Yep,
Okay.
that's
No,
a good
good
question.
question, because you got me thinking, I'm like, we got a million things going on, I'm like, all right, did we know that? No, yeah. Chris?
My understanding was if you sold the property is when it goes to town vote, not what you do
Correct.
with the property.
When we purchase and sell, yes,
do have
that's
to
where
do
we have to go to the
We have
voters.
to vote for Cathedral Square.
That's because they sold the property to Cathedral Square.
Right.
Oh, okay. I have one question.
Sure, Sue.
Is there anything inside that can be saved or nothing can be saved inside?
What we saw was,
No good.
There is an individual in Franklin that'd be interested in trying to pull some of that stuff out before it's.
Brian
demolished.
Greenfield.
Is that Rainville?
Brian Rainville.
Okay.
I think we should allow some of the stuff to be salvaged if possible.
That's.
Stairwells.
Yeah, I agree.
Only if they get
Staircase.
good liability.
if somebody's interested in going in there and grabbing it,
Right.
We gotta worry about the liability.
Liability.
but it is a liability going into it.
Right,
Yes.
right.
Yeah, I might have to sign some kind of waiver, if
Yeah.
you fall through the floor, it's our fault
Right.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep,
I don't think that'll hold up.
no.
But anyway, you know the individuals, okay.
Yeah, one time that staircase was absolutely beautiful. I don't know what it's like now.
Staircase is probably the only thing
That's the only thing good in it.
That
It's
is-
beautiful.
Yeah.
But the floors, no.
Yeah.
How about the bench underneath the window in that one room with the cabinet
Yeah.
on, that bench?
Yeah.
That was still pretty nice in there.
But some of those windows, like we saw the windows.
Two separate
were rotten.
RFPs,
The
right? One for
windows-
filling out
Window sills
information.
were all,
No, we're
You
doing
got
it at the same
the
time.
Oh, we are.
cabinets in that
Maybe
one
we can
room,
get a
the one on the
discount.
left, that cabinet there with the
Be a
bench
good idea.
underneath the window.
Probably get a better rate.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, make sure, and, okay, yep.
I think you'd get a better
I'd
rate.
like to see
Yeah.
one piece of the building, or just one piece to go whatever into the new library as a memorial or a memory from the town of Highgate. Because a lot of us that lived here in this town remember that place. Myself, I grew up just a little ways from there. I would like to see one piece kept as to put in the library.
You could do what I did with the one at Swan, what was the hotel they tore down?
Right.
I got 2 bricks out of that.
Riviera,
I got 2
yes.
bricks out of the Riviera.
Yes,
That's
it's just
good, yeah.
a keepsake.
Sue's got
So we can get you a
the
piece of the
old
foundation if you want.
What, Ty?
yeah, the
got a piece of
foundation
the
is
old
crumbling, I'm
bleachers.
sure we
I
can
got
get
the
you a
picture
piece.
of the old bleachers, thanks to
We'll give you
Ty.
we'll give you part of the rock foundation if you want.
Somewhere there's a piece of the East Highgate Bridge that I gave Charlie 9.
That's in there?
It just be
I don't know where it
nice.
is.
It might be over by Berkeley, but.
We
It's green in color. Okay.
Activity for them.
Charlie wanted a section of that bridge, so that's.
We tore down Steinhauer's
The old
Cafe,
church.
the sign off the front went,
Right next to my store.
well, it had yours, I can't remember who it was now.
Oh,
Carrie Furkey's got the sign.
Carrie Furkey.
5 years, I've never actually.
I got the menus out of it.
Yeah. Does anybody know somebody from the Historical Society of Highgate that might be interested in going in there and grabbing something?
The nice.
You have to talk to Nolan, he's the,
Yeah.
that one now.
Dennis
Dennis Nolan.
Okay. Well, if you guys see him before I do, come be in contact with us. 'Cause
There's a hitching post.
this
right out
RFP
front.
is due on May 8th, and it's gonna happen soon thereafter, so.
Don't even have to go in the building.
I think it'd just be very.
Yeah, the
nice.
hitching post would be a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The old hitching post, yeah.
So if you see anything, I'm not gonna issue it tomorrow, but early next week I will. So if there's any typos or things that don't make sense, call me.
Yep.
Email me, actually.
Look good through my first read through.
All right, do I have anything else? Yeah, so the second thing under town administrator was the final grant application. We talked about it under signatures, but for that large grant is happening tomorrow. And it is for $1 million to support the village water and wastewater. I'm hoping that that grant will help replace some of the earmarks or consumer-directed spending that have been canceled for this year, because that was part of the plan originally. Also, I did talk to Tim Smith from FCIDC, and we believe the board is going to support paying for a water feasibility study, but I don't know exactly what level. But the town did ask to get some help to help us create an achievable legal path to getting public water for the village water and wastewater project. So I applied for that grant as well this week, and also separately sent 2 requests for the earmarks / CDSs. CDS doesn't mean anything to me, and we all recognize earmarks. So to Senator Sanders' office and Senator Ballott's office, asking for $750,000 to support the same project. I don't know how, if those will be funded next year, but the money could be used for either water or sewer.
$1 million would go a long way.
That one, the earmarks I asked for was $750,000. They said somebody told me politically they wouldn't really go to $1 million. It sounds like a really over the top number. So I thought $750,000. Like, we won't turn that away.
No, definitely not.
So anyway, that's where we go. There was a question, I thought.
Okay. And you, Chris?
With the water, I'm just curious, have we reached out to our neighboring town, Franklin? They've already gone down this road. They have a town spring. They just drilled a town well. They're using the same company that we were using for the wastewater, and it's the same guy, Robert Clark. And they just drilled a well. They're going through all the process right now. I just talked to, about a month ago, I talked to Marshall Pluth about it. And I believe Mike Lawyer is the head of their water department in Franklin. But similar towns, similar, beliefs and whatnot when it comes to water. And they're going down the road right now with it. So they might be an ally.
We actually are using Robert Clark as an engineer for the wastewater program, and he's the one who suggested I reach out to someone else because a lot of engineers are straight out right now.
Yeah, I was on the village corps. I know Robert's buried, but but I'm just suggesting a town that's already gone down this road for the last 20 years and has navigated the state's rules and whatnot, and tried to avoid some of the ridiculous rules.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good call.
And if there's any discussion with senators or representatives, some people in Montpelier think we're taking out ag land to build this.
To build what?
Well, in the village wastewater area.
Village wastewater and the center of town. I mentioned that to Mr. Senator Brock at the time. That's an idea that some of them have down there because they don't even know where Highgate is. But anyway,
it's not prime
the
ag.
center of town is the center of town. It's not prime ag. Our proposed wastewater disposal is a reclaimed sand pit.
Yeah, it's a sand pit.
Well, some people don't know that.
Okay.
But just if there's a conversation, this isn't the best piece of land in town.
Jack's been there.
Anyway.
Okay, well, that's good to know.
And that's all I have.
Okay, any other business? Down the table?
Chair pickup.
Chair
Got
pickup?
lots of chairs to pick
Oh,
up.
okay, we gotta do a little executive too.
Can I just add
Oh,
one
yeah,
of these
sure.
green up bit?
Yep.
So we've had some complications in the last few weeks with green up. If you are gonna do green up on the Lemoyne Valley Rail Trail, it was asked that you stay within 9 feet of the trail. So within the trail's right of way. If you pick up trash, at that point they ask you to then take it to the next crossing. Don't bag it, leave it. LVRT has no means to pick it up. So then it then falls on us. And we have to have AOT access permits to get on the trail to pick it up. So if the trail is green up, it needs to be brought to the road crossing.
Sorry, anything else?
That's it.
Nick did tell me that they're gonna be starting Marmot Road May 5th.
For the paving?
Yes.
Awesome.
So told me that, so I will let my neighbors know.
Fingers crossed. That definitely needs
Fingers
done.
crossed. Yes, you know how bad it was.
Yeah, that's bad.
It's bad.
It's almost a dirt road.
Huh?
All right, with that, I'd like to make a motion to come out of regular and go into the executive session
I make that
with
motion.
us and Carrie, and I don't think we'll need you guys.
I don't think
We're just
so.
gonna be picking up.
Okay. All those say aye?
Aye.
Thank you.